Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Today is Wednesday, March 4th, 2020. The time is now 7:15 a.m. Central Standard Time, local time, Fort Worth. How's everybody doing today? Today I'm going to do something special this morning. I'm going to read my Bible. This is my Bible. I'm out from underneath the light. I gotta get you guys closer. Today I'm gonna read my Bible today, and I'm going to read Numbers 16 through 18. We are in week 10 of reading the Bible, 1/5 of the way through. Wow, sounds so dramatic when I say it that way. 1/5 of the way through. Early bird in the room. The Wiz says morning. Good morning. Let's see, 16, 18. Yes, how is everybody doing today? Today is hump day. Wetness day. 16. Man, why do I keep going back and forth between way too early and way too late? I need to get like Goldilocks. Right in the middle. Just right. Nope. There we go. 16, 17, 18. Yes, good morning to all. Welcome to Kenya Reads the Bible. That's what I do for my New Year's resolutions. I am resolved to stay resolute to my resolutions. So yeah, let's see. Today is the reading of Numbers 16 through 18, which means chances are I did 13, 14, and 15 yesterday. How about we do a recap, shall we? Let's shall. me. I've been going back to my drama class. I missed a week or two, but now I'm back in my theater class, so I had to get a little me. Get a little warmed up there. All right, let's see. What did I read about in chapter 13 yesterday? Talked about the 12 scouts. One member from each tribe. To go out toward Canaan, scout ahead, see what was going on, how many people were there, were they guarded, how were they living, what type of vegetation and crops were going on, things like that. And so let's see. Now then there was the scouting report. So out of the 12 people, 2 people said, hey, we got this. We're going to go in there. We're going to crush them. We're going to take over. This is the promised land. We got this. And then the other 10 were like, no, it's too many of them. There's giants. I don't think we can do this. And they were pretty much denying God's promise and being doubtful. Let's see, chapter 14, the people rebelled. That's when they rebelled. Since they rebelled, Moses tried to intercede, saying, look, Lord, I know we're messing up right now. Just be patient. These people, they don't know what they're talking about. Let's just go. God was like, if they don't want it, I'm not going to give it to them. And so they didn't. The only people who actually went into the promised land of Canaan was that Caleb, right? Joshua and Caleb were the only 2 that came back and said, yes, this is the promised land. We can do this. And, we had the confidence. They had the confidence to be able to go in and do it. Well, not really confidence in themselves, but, believing in the Lord that they could do it. Everybody else was like, no, we should just go back to Egypt. And so the Lord said, you don't want it? I won't give it to you. And the Lord punishes the Israelites. And they said, everybody 20 years of age and older, you will die out here in the wilderness. You will not see the promised land. Except for Joshua and Caleb and their descendants. Chapter 15 was talking about laws concerning offerings. And let's see. The penalty for breaking the Sabbath. And tassels on clothing. Tassels on clothing, which were used to be a reminder. When you see the tassels, there were supposed to be little tassels connected on the hems of the clothing, attached with a blue cord. When you see the tassels, you will remember and obey all the commands of the Lord instead of following your own desires and defiling yourselves. as you are prone to do. All right, so today we should be caught up. Today is talking about Korah's Rebellion. Korah. And I think I might even have some imagery for you to check it out. I'm going to do a quick screen share of the book cover if anybody's interested in getting this particular guide that I'm using. It is a woman's guide to reading the Bible in a year, a life-changing journey in the heart of God. Author is Diane Stortz. We are in week 10, and let's see, numbers 16 through 18. The overall theme of this week is wilderness travails. Wilderness travails, giants and grasshoppers. So the people, when they went into Canaan, they said we felt like grasshoppers compared to the giants. I don't think we've gotten to the almond buds and blossoms yet, or the talking donkey, or a star from Jacob's tribe, or the female heirs, but that is what we're going to cover. And then let me get you over to this little imagery that I've got here. I think it's this one. Doesn't show too much, but I mean, you know, sometimes it's nice to have a little background imagery to kind of go along with the reading. And so here we go. Y'all ready? All right. Chapter 16, Korah's Rebellion. One day Korah, son of Izhar, a descendant of Kohath, son of Levi, conspired with Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, and On, son of Peleth, from the tribe of Reuben. They incited a rebellion against Moses, along with 250 other leaders of the community, all prominent members of the assembly. They united against Moses and Aaron and said, "You've gone too far. The whole community of Israel has been set apart by the Lord, and he is with all of us. What right do you have to act as though you are greater than the rest of the Lord's people?" When Moses heard what they were saying, he fell down on the ground. Then he said to Korah and his followers, "Tomorrow morning the Lord will show us who belongs to him and who is holy. The Lord will allow only those whom he selects to enter his own presence. Korah, you and all your followers must prepare your incense burners. Light fires in them tomorrow and burn incense before the Lord. Then we will see whom the Lord chooses as his Holy One. You Levites are the ones who have gone too far." Then Moses spoke again to Korah. "Listen, you Levites, does it seem insignificant to you that the God of Israel has chosen you from among all the community of Israel to be near him, so you can serve in the Lord's tabernacle and stand before the people to minister to them? Korah, he has already given his special ministry to you and your fellow Levites. Are you now demanding the priesthood as well? The Lord is the one you and your followers are really revolting against. For who is Aaron that you are complaining about him?" Then Moses summoned Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, but they replied, "We refuse to come before you. Isn't it enough that you brought us out of Egypt, a land flowing with milk and honey, to kill us here in this wilderness, and that you now treat us like your subjects? What's more, you haven't brought us into another land of flowing with milk and honey. You haven't given us a new homeland with fields and vineyards. Are you trying to fool these men? We will not come." Then Moses became very angry and said to the Lord, "Do not accept their grain offerings. I have not taken so much as a donkey from them, and I have never hurt a single one of them." And Moses said to Korah, "You and all your followers must come here tomorrow and present yourselves before the Lord. Aaron will also be here. You and each of your 250 followers must prepare an incense burner and put incense on it, so you can all present them before the Lord. Aaron will also bring his incense burner." So each of these men prepared an incense burner, lit the fire, and placed incense on it. Then they all stood at the entrance of the tabernacle with Moses and Aaron. Meanwhile, Korah had stirred up the entire community against Moses and Aaron, and they all gathered at the tabernacle entrance. Then the glorious presence of the Lord appeared to the whole community. And the Lord said to Moses and Aaron, "Get away from all these people so that I may instantly destroy them." But Moses and Aaron fell down on the ground. "Oh God," they pleaded, "you are the God who gives breath to all creatures. Must you be angry with all the people when only one man sins?" And the Lord said to Moses, Then tell all the people to get away from the tents of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram. So Moses got up and rushed over to the tents of Dathan and Abiram, followed by the elders of Israel. Quick, he told the people, get away from the tents of these wicked men and don't touch anything that belongs to them. If you do, you will be destroyed for their sins. So all the people stood back from the tents of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram. Then Dathan and Abiram came out and stood at the entrances of their tents, together with their wives and children and little ones. And Moses said, this is how you will know that the Lord has sent me to do all these things that I have done, for I have not done them on my own. If these men die a natural death, or if nothing unusual happens, then the Lord has not sent me. But if the Lord does something entirely new and the ground opens its mouth and swallows them and all their belongings, and they go down alive into the grave, then you will know that these men have shown contempt for the Lord. He hardly finished speaking the words when the ground suddenly split open beneath them. The earth opened its mouth and swallowed the men along with their households and all their followers who were standing with them and everything they owned. So they went down alive into the grave along with all their belongings. The earth closed over them, and they all vanished from among the people of Israel. All the people around them fled when they heard their screams. The earth will swallow us too, they cried. Then fire blazed forth from the Lord and burned up 250 men who were offering incense. And the Lord said to Moses, tell Eleazar, son of Aaron, the priest, to pull all the incense burners from the fire. They are holy. Also tell them to scatter the burning coals. Take the incense burners of these men who have sinned at the cost of their lives, and hammer the metal into a thin sheet to overlay the altar. Since these burners were used in the Lord's presence, they have become holy. Let them serve as a warning to the people of Israel. So Eleazar the priest collected the 250 bronze incense burners that had been used by the men who died in the fire, and he hammered them into a thin sheet to overlay the altar. This would warn the Israelites that no unauthorized person, no one who was not a descendant of Aaron, should ever enter the Lord's presence to burn incense. If anyone did, the same thing would happen to him as happened to Korah and his followers. So the Lord's instructions to Moses were carried out. But the very next morning, the whole community of Israel began muttering again against Moses and Aaron, saying, you have killed the Lord's people. As the community gathered to protest against Moses and Aaron, they turned toward the tabernacle and saw that the cloud had covered it, and the glorious presence of the Lord appeared. Moses and Aaron came and stood in front of the tabernacle, and the Lord said to Moses, get away from all these people so that I can instantly destroy them. But Moses and Aaron fell face down on the ground. And Moses said to Aaron, quick, take an incense burner and place burning coals on it from the altar. Lay incense on it and carry it out among the people to purify them and make them right with the Lord. The Lord's anger is blazing against them. The plague has already begun. Aaron did as Moses told him and ran out among the people. The plague had already begun to strike down the people, but Aaron burned the incense and purified the people. He stood between the dead and the living, and the plague stopped. But 14,700 people died in that plague, in addition to those who had died in the affair involving Korah. Then because the plague had stopped, Aaron returned to Moses at the entrance of the tabernacle. All right. Chapter 17. The budding of Aaron's staff. Then the Lord said to Moses, tell the people of Israel to bring you 12 wooden staffs, one from each leader of Israel's ancestral tribes, and inscribe each leader's name on the staff. Inscribe Aaron's name on the staff of the tribe of Levi, for there must be one staff for the leader of each ancestral tribe. Place these staffs in the tabernacle in front of the ark containing the tablets of the covenant, where I meet with you. Buds will sprout on the staff belonging to the man I choose. Then I will finally put an end to the people's murmuring and complaining against you. So Moses gave the instructions to the people of Israel, and each of the 12 tribal leaders, including Aaron, brought Moses a staff. Moses placed the staffs in the Lord's presence in the tabernacle of the covenant. When he went into the tabernacle of the covenant the next day, he found that Aaron's staff, representing the tribe of Levi, had sprouted, budded, blossomed, and produced ripe almonds. When Moses brought all the staffs out from the Lord's presence, he showed them to the people. Each man claimed his own staff. And the Lord said to Moses, "Place Aaron's staff permanently before the Ark of the Covenant to serve as a warning to rebels. This should put an end to their complaints against me and prevent any further deaths." So Moses did as the Lord commanded him. Then the people of Israel said to Moses, "Look, we're doomed. We are dead. We are ruined. Everyone who even comes close to the tabernacle of the Lord dies. Are we all doomed to die?" Chapter 18. Life of Key, good morning. 40 fam, good morning. Chapter 18. Reading chapter 18 of Numbers. Duties of priests and Levites. Then the Lord said to Aaron, "You, your sons, and your relatives from the tribe of Levi will be held responsible for any offenses related to the sanctuary, but you and your sons alone will be held responsible for violations connected with the priesthood. Bring your relatives of the tribe of Levi, your ancestral tribe, to assist you and your sons as you perform the sacred duties in front of the tabernacle of the covenant. But as the Levites go about all their assigned duties at the tabernacle, they must be careful not to go near any of the sacred objects or the altar. If they do, both you and they will die. The Levites must join you in fulfilling their responsibilities for the care and maintenance of the tabernacle, but no unauthorized person may assist you. You yourselves must perform the sacred duties inside the sanctuary and at the altar. If you follow these instructions, the Lord's anger will never again blaze against the people of Israel. I myself have chosen your fellow Levites from among the Israelites to be your special assistants. They are a gift to you, dedicated to the Lord for service in the tabernacle. But you and your sons, the priests, must personally handle all the priestly rituals associated with the altar and with everything behind the inner curtain. I'm giving you the priesthood as your special privilege of service. Any unauthorized person who comes too near the sanctuary will be put to death." Verse 8 talks about support for the priests and Levites. The Lord gave these instructions to Aaron. "I myself have put you in charge of all the holy offerings that are brought to me by the people of Israel. I have given all these consecrated offerings to you and your sons as your permanent share. You are allotted the portion of the most holy offerings that is not burned on the fire. This portion of all the most holy offerings, including the grain offerings, sin offerings, and guilt offerings, will be most holy, and it belongs to you and your sons. You must eat it as a most holy offering. All the males may eat of it, and you must treat it as holy. All the sacred offerings and special offerings presented to me, when the Israelites lift them up before the altar, also belongs to you. I have given them to you and your sons and daughters as your permanent share. Any member of your family who is ceremonially clean may eat of these offerings. I also give you the harvest gifts brought by the people as offerings to the Lord, the best of the olive oil, new wine, and grain. All the first crops of their land that the people present to the Lord belong to you. Any member of your family who is ceremonially clean may eat this food. Everything in Israel that is specially set apart for the Lord also belongs to you. The firstborn of every mother, whether human or animal, that is offered to the Lord will be yours. But you must always redeem your firstborn sons and the firstborn of ceremonially unclean animals. Redeem them when they are 1 month old. The redemption price is 5 pieces of silver, as measured by the weight of the sanctuary shekel, which equals 20 gerahs. However, you may not redeem the firstborn of cattle, sheep, or goats. They are holy and have been set apart for the Lord. Sprinkle their blood on the altar and burn their fat as a special gift, a pleasing aroma to the Lord. The meat of these animals will be yours, just like the breast and right thigh that are presented by lifting them up as a special offering before the altar. Yes, I am giving you all these holy offerings that the people of Israel bring to the Lord. They are for you and your sons and daughters. They are for you and your sons and daughters to be eaten as your permanent share. This is an eternal and unbreakable covenant between the Lord and you, and it also applies to your descendants. And the Lord said to Aaron, you priests will receive no allotment of land or share of property among the people of Israel. I am your share in your allotment. As for the tribe of Levi, your relatives, I will compensate them for their service in the tabernacle. Instead of an allotment of land, I will give them the tithes from the entire land of Israel. From now on, no Israelites, except priests or Levites, may approach the tabernacle. If they come too near, they will be judged guilty and will die. Only the Levites may serve at the tabernacle, and they will be held responsible for any offenses against it. This is a permanent law for you to be observed from generation to generation. The Levites will receive no allotment of land among the Israelites, because I have given them the Israelites' tithes, which have been presented as sacred offerings to the Lord. This will be the Levites' share. That is why I said they would receive no allotment of land among the Israelites. The Lord also told Moses, give these instructions to the Levites. When you receive from the people of Israel the tithes I have assigned as your allotment, give a tenth of the tithes you receive, a tithe of the tithe, to the Lord as a sacred offering. The Lord will consider this offering to be your harvest offering, as though it were the first grain from your own threshing floor, or wine from your own winepress. You must present 1/10 of the tithe received from the Israelites as a sacred offering to the Lord. This is the Lord's sacred portion, and you must present it to Aaron and the priests. Be sure to give to the Lord the best portions of the gifts given to you. Also, give these instructions to the Levites. When you present the best part of your offering, it will be considered as though it came from your own threshing floor or winepress. You Levites and your families may eat this food anywhere. And you Levites and your family may eat this food anywhere you wish, for it is your compensation for the serving in the tabernacle. You will not be considered guilty for accepting the Lord's tithes if you give the best portion to the priests. But be careful not to treat the holy gifts of the people of Israel as though they were common. If you do, you will die. That is the reading for today, chapters 16, 17, and 18 of the book of Numbers. Katatin Cooking's Mama's Homestead pops in and says, good morning. I missed you about 6 minutes ago. Lots of offerings. What's the difference from that and tithing? Good question. Good question. Well, let me see if I can remember. Back in Leviticus, was it the book? Yeah, I think back in Leviticus, or was it in Exodus? Exodus was the commandments, and I think Leviticus was pretty much the differences, breaking down the different offerings. There was sin offering, there was burnt offering, there was peace offering, there was offering like to make a certain kind of vow. There was like 6 or 7 kind of offerings for different reasons. Basically, and then the tithes, I don't know. What is the difference between the tithes? I guess a tithe is a special type of offering. Because even with the burnt offerings and the other offerings, they always had to bring the best of their cattle or the best of their flock, something that was unblemished. And this time, I think the tithes... Good question. Good question. If anybody knows that answer, because I don't know, I'm learning this myself, let me know in the comment section. What is the difference between, and we're talking Old Testament here, what is the difference between the offerings and the tithes? I may have to read over that portion again, because this is for the Levites. The part of the Levites were rebelling, and so I don't know if that is specifically related to the rebellion, or if they were never really intended to get, land. You priests will receive no allotment of land. Okay. So the Israelites can have land, but you don't get the land. And I think is that the first time? That's the first time that tithes is mentioned in the Old Testament. I mean, we read about it in the New Testament when Jesus was comparing the rich person, the rich guy, with the widow that put in her 2 little coins. But let's see, that's verse 25. Chapter 18 and verse 25. Give these instructions to the Levites. When you receive from the people of Israel the tithes I have assigned as your allotment, give 1/10 of the tithes you receive. So the people are commanded to give a certain portion specifically for the Levites. Is that why it's called a tithe? I'm going to look in the back real quick. And actually, I'm going to do a quick Google. In today's world, it's 10% of what we make for an offering. And it's not just 10%, it's a 10% of the first, right off the top, not leftover, which is basically what this is saying. Yeah, give a tithe, 1/10 of the tithes you receive, a tithe of a tithe. Let's find out. A 1, a 2, a 3. 3. Let's see. Tithe, 1/10 of annual produce or earnings, formerly taken as a tax for the support of the church and clergy. So, according to that Google definition, a portion for the clergy, and the Levites would be considered clergy. They were the priests in charge of maintaining the tabernacle. What tithes mean in the Bible? I'll give one more, see if I can. I think there may be a dictionary in the back of here. No, but there is one in the back of the study one. Oh, just in the nick of time. Put that one here. Pretty sure. Hey. LMNOPQRST. This is the first time I've cracked this open. Here we go. According to Nelson's Compact Series Compact Bible Dictionary, a tithe, the practice of giving 1/10 of one's income or property as an offering to God. The custom of paying a tithe was an ancient practice found among many nations of the ancient world. The practice of giving 1/10 of income or property extends into Hebrew history before the time of the Mosaic Law. Okay, so this is even before Moses. The first recorded instance of tithing in the Bible occurs in Genesis 14, verses 17 through 20. After returning from rescuing Lot and defeating his enemies, Abraham met Melchizedek, the king of Salem, and priest of God Most High. The text states simply that Abraham gave Melchizedek a tithe of all the goods he had obtained in battle. The author of the book of Hebrews, in recounting this episode, considered the Levitical priests who descended from Abraham and who appeared centuries later as having paid tithes to Melchizedek through Abraham. You can find that in Hebrews chapter 7, verses 1 through 10. There is no recorded demand of Abraham for 1/10. Neither is an explanation given about why Abraham gave a tithe to Melchizedek. Jacob also, long before the law of Moses, promised that he would give the Lord 1/10 of all he received. And you can find that in Genesis 28:22. The law of Moses prescribed tithing in some detail. Check out Leviticus 27, verses 30 through 32. It states that the tithe of the land would include the seed of the land and the fruit of the tree. In addition, the Hebrew people were required to set apart every 10th animal of their herd and flocks to the Lord. Mosaic legislation, Moses' law, on tithing is also found in two other passages. Check out Numbers 18, 21 through 32, which is what I just read today. States that the tithes in Israel would be given to the Levites because the Levites did not receive a land inheritance like the other tribes of Israel. The Levites, in turn, were to offer a heave offering to the Lord. This would constitute a tithe on their part of the goods which they received. The rest of the goods which the Levite received would provide their living as a reward for their work in the tabernacle. Oh, wow, this is really long and in-depth definition here. The third passage dealing with the tithe is in Deuteronomy, chapter 17, 5 through 7, and chapters 11 through 12, and 17 through 18. This passage instructed Israel to take their tithes to the place the Lord prescribed, eventually the city of Jerusalem. In Deuteronomy, only a vegetable tithe is mentioned. In 2 Chronicles, chapter 31 and 6, however, the tithe of cattle is mentioned. In Deuteronomy 26, 12 through 15, the third year is called the year of tithing. This may indicate that the tithes were not collected annually. Apparently, in this year, only the goods that were given as tithes could be offered and stored locally. The offering of tithe also took the form of a ritual meal. You can find that in Deuteronomy 12, verse 7, and also verse 12. Some suggest that there were 3 tithes, but this seems unlikely. There is no mention of a tithe in Exodus, but only the giving of the first fruits, which is talked about in Ezekiel chapter 44, verses 29 through 30. Finally, the prophet Malachi indicated that Israel had robbed God in withholding tithes and offerings. Thus, the Israelites were exhorted to bring their tithes into the storehouse in order to enjoy the Lord's blessing. That's Malachi chapter 3, verses 8 through 12. In the Old Testament, the purpose of the giving of a tenth was to meet the material need of the Levite, the stranger, the fatherless, talking about orphans, and the widow. And you can find that reference in Deuteronomy 26, 12 through 13. The tithe was an expression of gratitude to God by his people. Basic tithing was the acknowledgement of God's ownership of everything in the earth. In the New Testament, the words tithe and tithing appear only 8 times. Matthew 23:23, Luke 11:42 and 18, verse 12, Hebrews 7:5 through 6, and verses 8 and 9. All these passages refer to Old Testament usage and to current Jewish practice. Nowhere does the New Testament expressly command Christians to tithe. However, as believers, we are to be generous in sharing our material possessions with the poor and for the support of Christian ministry. Christ himself is our model in giving. Giving is to be voluntary, willing, cheerful, and given in the light of our accountability to God. Giving should be systematic and by no means limited to a tithe of our incomes. We recognize that all we have is from God. We are called to be faithful stewards of all our possessions. And then the final references are Romans 14 and 12, 1 Corinthians 9 and 3, also 1 Corinthians 9 and 14. 1 Corinthians 9, 3 through 14, 16, 1 through 3, and then also 2 Corinthians 8 through 9. That was the most in-depth definition I've ever read in my life. Wow. See that? I'm going to remember when I finish the live, I'm going to put the link to this one now that I'm using this. That's pretty cool, huh? Nelson's Compact Series. I've had this for a while, too. Cool. All right, you guys, that wraps it up for today. Thank you for that question. Now I got to get back to the live to make sure I answered it properly. Get back to that question. Yeah, it was a really, really long reading. So much so that my friend Erica came in and I didn't even see her because I was busy reading. Let's see. In today's world, it's 10% of what we make for an offering. Tithe 10% offering is beyond. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, my friend. Wow, I learned something today. I didn't know that. All I've ever heard was 10%. Yeah, telling me. I didn't know all of that. Good morning. Thank you, Kenya. That's a lot of books to look at concerning tithes. I'll check that out. Yes. Yes. So yes, that is the conclusion of today's reading. That was Numbers 16 through 18, supported by Nelson's Compact Series Bible Dictionary, which I just cracked open for the very first time today. You guys just witnessed history, at least on my channel. All right, let me give a shout out to the folks in the live stream. If you are watching this on the replay, I love you too. But this is for the people who said hello to me or something. Early Bird the Wiz, Life of Key, Katatin Cooking Mama's Homestead, Erica Brene Vlogs. Yes, I think I got everybody. Man, my nose is starting to itch again. The more I read, the stronger my vocal cords get, and the more my nose itches when I go start talking about superstition, because we are strictly by the book. Strictly by the book today. Strictly by the book. Okay. On that note, everybody be blessed, be safe, be content, be faithful, be studious, and be prayerful. That was a simple prayer today. Thank you for the 2 likes, even though there's 3 people in here. I thought there was at least 3 or 4. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up on your way out the door. And if you're watching this on a replay, give me a thumbs up. Give me 2 if you can. I'm just playing. Not really. Okay. See you guys tomorrow. Gotta go. Entrepreneur Drive 40, Entrepreneur Drive. Entrepreneur Drive 40, Entrepreneur Drive. Entrepreneur Drive 40, Entrepreneur Drive. Thanks for watching, share, like, and subscribe. Why, bless you. Thank you. You sneezed and a flower bloomed. Oh, did it? It did.